It's wonderful to be here today and wonderful to be here almost at the close of the ITS World Congress. And Public Transport Victoria has been your friend over the last few days as we've helped you travel around our wonderful network. And those of you who've used our buses and trams and trains over the last few days will know from that experience that we're undergoing our own transformation as we work to really bring up to date our transport network. And we are not only grappling with the challenge of taking a century-old public transport network, but bringing it up to today's standards, but also embracing the technological change, the innovations we see around us, and really transforming it into an inclusive, accessible public transport network that all Victorians can choose to use. Of course, Victoria, as you now know, is one of the largest and most complex public transport networks in the world. Our iconic trams, the largest light rail network anywhere in the world, a complex set of metropolitan, suburban and regional rail services all coming together over shared tracks in the centre of our city, and of course a wide and a growing bus network in the city and the regional state. We also deliver a fully multimodal night network, one of only 2 cities in the world to really run a full night network on Friday nights and Saturday nights where people can travel to their destination by train, by tram, by bus, by regional coach. So this gives our passengers an affordable transport options, whether you're a shift worker coming home in the early hours or whether you're out with your mates and need to get home after a good night out. And frankly, after the celebrations of the ITS World Congress, I'd encourage everybody here to try it out for themselves in the early hours of tomorrow morning. We're also delivering with this real-time information for all of our metropolitan services and expanding this into regional areas. We embrace a full open data ethos where we release all of our public transport information via an API, and this leads, we believe, to innovation and encourages the delivery of new products for our customers. Now, the challenge for us in Melbourne is that we are the fastest growing city in Australia. We've got 100,000 people moving into the city every year. That's the equivalent for us of 2 full trains, 10 E-Class trams, 40 full buses arriving here every single week. Now, that's also a population across the state of 6 million people today, but we expect that to double in the next 40 or so years. All in a state which is still very large, a state the size of England, as I know only too well. So we're now at the start of our journey of an unprecedented investment in our public transport network. We've got a once-in-a-generation opportunity to transform the way the Victorians travel around the state. And our government has committed over $20 billion of infrastructure through the removal of 50 level crossings, the construction of a brand new metropolitan rail tunnel underneath the central business district, the delivery of almost 100 high-capacity trains, upgrading our signalling to high-capacity signalling, and in all this process, upgrading and rebuilding dozens of new stations, as well as all that, delivering new trams for our light rail network. There is an awful lot happening here in Melbourne and in Victoria. But with all this new and exciting mobility innovation we see around us at ITS, you might ask, well, why are we rebuilding a 19th century mode of rail transport? Why are we messing around with all the heavy engineering? And the answer is simple. The demand for mass transit continues to grow. And we're seeing an ongoing increase in employment in our central business district. We're seeing a strong underlying population growth in the inner and outer metropolitan areas. And all of that for us means increasing congestion on our key transport corridors. And even as new forms of mobility that we see around us enter our world, we're seeing an increase in competition for scarce road space. And that for us means how we connect a mass public transport solution to a wider, on-demand and more complex set of mobility solutions, all of which will be central to the future of the world's most livable city. But today, during peak times, our trains and trams are full. Our dwell times are increasing, and it's taking too long for our passengers to get to work. So as our city grows, we need to change our thinking on the wider mobility solutions because frankly, infrastructure is not the only answer. Better data to inform better choices for travel is just as important as rail and rubber-based solutions. So passengers are telling us that public transport is only part of their story. They are making use of new and emerging options like rideshare, like cycling, demand-responsive travel modes. They operate in an increasingly mobile society. So we, as an authority, need to provide the data and intelligence to move with them. So we're now exploring a mobility network for Melbourne that actually is mode agnostic. A mobility network which enables passengers to choose from and use multiple forms of transport to make each and every journey. And in line with our vision for a wider mobility network, we're driving data beyond basic public transport. because data helps us to understand how our passengers are using transport. Data helps us focus our investment choices for the future, and data will then encourage us to welcome the disruptors rather than to repel them and embrace emerging technology. And so the data era for us is about embracing transformation and influencing how people can use our network. And with that information, we can better understand how those pieces fit together and how we plan the future of our cities and how we plan the future of our mobility networks to actually bring together a complete solution. So we are committed to open data. We release our public transport information for our passengers, for our stakeholders, for planners, for digital product developers. Because open data now is a marketplace. It ensures discovery, sharing, access and currency of data. Open data drives innovation, it enables economic activity and encourages research and development. So for example, by releasing our timetable API data onto the open market, we've enabled the delivery of some really good transport products like Google Transit, Citymapper, Move It. I have no shares in any of these things, but they're developing applications and options for our passengers to use all the time. And Victoria, of course, is not alone in embracing the open data ethos. We see many cities around us, many of them here today, who are releasing their public transport data to enable third-party developers to create new commercial as well as social products. But as well as real data, we're looking at real time. And it wasn't so long ago that cutting-edge customer information was a timetable stuck on a pole, and people had to have a degree in transport planning to work out what on earth they might tell them. And times have changed. Our passengers want real-time information, they want bespoke information, and they want information that moves with them. In Victoria, we deliver real-time information for our trams and metropolitan buses, and with trainers coming just down the tracks, and we're expanding this offering into regional areas. And this real-time information is not just on our website or our app, but it's available across our network, wherever people travel, through passenger information displays and through mobile solutions. Now, this real-time data can also include additional data, such as road information, congestion, incidents, disruptions, and we've showcased some of that here at ITS this week. The integration of multiple data sets onto one integrated map, an integrated application that people can really use to make informed choices about how to travel around our network. Because we know that real-time fundamentally builds confidence and trust in travel choices. Now, the final frontier for us is big data. And as you all know, we're fast becoming a data-rich society, and access to and availability of new information through open data and the creation of real-time information is adding to a huge growth in the volume and variety of what we have to deal with. Getting meaningful value from this explosion in available information requires decent processing power, but above all, analytical capability and skill, all of which we're currently investing in here in Victoria. And we're moving rapidly from single data sources to digesting multiple data sets and how we're investing in cloud-based analytics to really get the value out of these products. And this platform will dramatically improve the measurement, prediction, and accessibility of reported transport results and the raw data we provide in real time. It allows us to better understand why things have occurred, predict what might happen, and start to influence future outcomes. So, data is at the heart of how we address all of our challenges. So we're opening up access to our information and encouraging developers to create new products and applications. We're delivering real-time data, which will help passengers make better choices about their journeys, regardless of mode. We're collecting, integrating, analyzing all this data to develop mobility networks based on the needs of our customers. And through this vision for our data, we believe we can enable and empower our passengers, we can engage our stakeholders, our planners, and the wider community, and energize the innovators to help us create an environment where public transport is an informed and preferred choice, and where our passengers value and can choose to use the best network in the world. Thank you for your time. I look forward to the discussion.